human life is very sacred to God. In fact, death is seen as a tremendous doorway, a doorway through which human beings pass into one of two eternal destinies: a destiny with God or a destiny without Him. I don't think y'all heard me. I said death is a tremendous doorway. It is a doorway through which human beings pass through. All of us gonna pass through that doorway called death. And it leads us to one of two eternal destinies: an eternal destiny with God or eternal destiny without Him. All this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that only God has a right to open that door. If death is a doorway to these eternal destinies, only God possessed the right to open that door. And this is why we commanded in Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. Let's go there. Old Testament, Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. Look what it says. You must not murder. That's what New Living Translation says. You must not murder. The King James says, thou shalt not kill. I love it what the New Living Translation says. You must not murder. Now, many of you may be saying, Pastor C, I get you. I feel you tonight. We shouldn't murder. I know it. We should not murder. I know for a fact that this sinful act doesn't even apply to me. This murder thing you talking about, I know it's wrong. I feel it's wrong. I know it. And I'm so glad that I never committed, and I never have plans to commit that such act. That's what many of you are saying. You're saying in your head. I feel you, Pastor. This murder thing is wrong. That's why I have committed myself to never try to kill somebody. I'm not going to do it. But ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand this. In our Bible, Jesus makes a very polemical statement, and it's found in Matthew chapter 5. Y'all ready for this? It's right here on the screen. You're familiar with the command to the ancients, do not murder. We just read that commandment, right? Exodus. You're familiar with the command of the ancients, do not murder. But watch what Jesus did. He added a caveat. I'm telling you that anyone who is so much as angry with a brother or sister is guilty of murder. Oh my goodness. In the text, Jesus contends that murder in the heart is just as sinful as the actual deed. Y'all still don't believe me? I got some more Bible. Let's go to 1 John. Let's go to 1 John chapter 3. Let's look at 1 John chapter 3. We're going to go down to verse 15. Y'all got to see this. Anyone who hates another brother or sister is really a murderer at heart. And you know that murderers don't have eternal life within them. Anyone who hates another brother or sister is really a murderer at heart. And you know that murderers don't have eternal life within them. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, many of us have not murdered someone physically, but I bet many of us have shed innocent blood by harboring hate for an individual. Did y'all hear me? You might not have ever murdered someone physically, but many of us are guilty of shedding innocent blood by harboring hate for another individual. Y'all gotta hear me tonight. This means murder can be inflicted not only on physical bodies, but also on souls. See, we always, when we hear that word murder, we always zoom in on physical bodies being afflicted. But murder also applies biblically to souls being afflicted. That what guns and knives can do to a physical body, hatred can do to the soul of a person. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe hatred can kill someone's spirit, that immaterial part of them that God treasures. God treasures our spirit. I told you this before, that man is a spirit. He has a soul and he lives in a physical body. Ladies and gentlemen, the spirit is the real you. And when you have hate towards somebody, you are attacking that spirit. You're attacking their soul. I believe it's possible to mangle someone's soul with hatred. I believe it's possible to wound somebody's heart with hatred. I believe it's possible if someone is mean enough, abusive enough, that they can emotionally kill someone, so much so that they feel wounded beyond repair. Is this too much for a Thursday night? I'm trying to help you, ladies and gentlemen, because this means that many of us have murdered our spouse, our children, our friends, friends, even our enemies, by the poisonous venom of hatred and bitterness. Did y'all hear me? Many of us are guilty of murdering our spouse, our children, our family, our friends, our enemies by the poisonous venom of hatred and bitterness. Kingdom, we must remember this, that whether we diabolically demolish someone with our tongue, or kill with a weapon of choice, or harbor murder in our hearts, the Lord has sworn to punish and avenge the blood of the innocent. That's biblical. That's biblical right there. He is sworn to punish and avenge the blood of the innocent. Now, whether we act individually, corporately, nationally, or internationally, the shedding of innocent blood is hated by our God. He hates it. He hates to see the shedding of innocent blood. And the only way we can avoid doing this, the only way we can avoid committing such a crime, either physically or spiritually, the only way we can avoid committing murder physically or in our hearts is to walk in love. It's right there on the screen. To walk in love. See, people hate because they do not love. People walk in hate and bitterness because they don't walk in love. A loving heart, watch this, has no place for hate. It has no place for bitterness. It has no place for malice. And in fact, a person who hates, I got to question if you really have God. Because we serve a God who is love. So if God is love and he's really in your heart, there's no room for hate. And watch this. And all those who are called Christians are called to love everybody. Did y'all hear me? All those who are called Christians, if you call yourself a Christian, you are called to love everybody. Y'all don't believe me? Let's go to Matthew. Let's go back to Matthew. Matthew, there it is. Matthew chapter 5. Look at it, verse 43 and 44. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you this, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Ladies and gentlemen, love is the potent weapon given to us by our God to conquer the poisonous trappings of hatred. Only love can drive out hate.